Alrighty, sorry I haven't put up a video in a while. I've been super busy working 80, 90-hour weeks because not only am I working my regular job at the restoration shop and the body shop, but I've been setting up a business with a buddy of mine. He's been doing the majority of the work, but there's a lot of work to be done. And this is his full-time job, so he does have an opportunity to work on it a lot more than I do. And he has a lot more capital at his disposal than I do and than I did at the beginning. But it's coming along. This is our shop that he rented out. I knew the people who own the building. His family knew them on a more personal basis, so we both sort of knew this building existed, and it was before it even hit the market. They wanted to rent it out to him, so they came up with a price. This is not the only building we have. We have this, and then there's a pole shed in the back, which is where a lot of our stuff is stored right now. This is our Hunter alignment rack, and we have an alignment machine that we're going to be running on the front of it. My main goal tonight and this weekend is to get all these holes drilled. My business partner Mitch did the first 4, and then I have to do 12 more in each of the towers. And my next goal is to get this painted as much as I can. We're going to repaint the towers. I tested out some primer on this surface and it turned out pretty decently. I purchased one of those stripping wheels from Harbor Freight. You can see it, one of those drum strippers. And it worked really well. The 40 grit wheel did a great job. There was a bunch of scale I had to take off with the air hammer. But I'm going to be painting the tops of these, and then once we get it, and I'm going to be painting the towers and the tops of the ramps, and hopefully those pieces if I have enough time. And then if I get to it, if I get to it, I'll be painting those. But then once we get the hoist assembled and we can lift the ramps up, then I will be painting the sides and the bottoms of the ramps. We had one of these plates come off on us, one of these nice alignment plates. So we got to get this other one off, and then I can paint both sides. I'm going to be leaving as many of the stickers as I can. Obviously that one's getting stripped off. That one's probably getting stripped off just because not really readable anymore. Power unit, we do have it. It's just at my grandmother's farm. This hoist was stored at the farm for several months. I went and picked it up in Michigan and then unloaded it with the Alice Chalmers. And the Alice Chalmers with the forks has been a very, very helpful tractor. It's been doing, when we bought out the business, when Mitch bought the business in Illinois, he bought a bunch of equipment. We had a friend of his skid loader to load up the U-Haul vans and stuff like that, and that really, really worked out well. But skid loader is no longer available, so we have a Bobcat here with just a bucket with no forks, unfortunately. So he's been using that, and the Bobcat has a drift, and the bucket's really jerky on the Bobcat, so it's not really ideal. The Alice Chalmers, though, so he bought everything, and then we stuck it in a storage unit until the building became available. So we moved everything in like November, I believe. November, I think. And then we put it in a storage unit, or it was October, I can't remember, October, November, somewhere around there. It was cold and rainy, So it was probably October. But we took care of that. We stuck it in a storage unit, and then we wound up, when we had to unload the storage unit, Alice Chalmers unloaded everything out of the storage unit. There's a lot of stuff that could be done by hand, but the Alice Chalmers, I mean, it moved the alignment rack all by itself, piece by piece. It moved the other 4 hoists that we had, which we've sold, and we have yet to install our second 2-post hoist. It moved the tire machine, the balancer, the air compressor. It moved a lot of stuff that you see, a lot of the big equipment. And for a little 46 horse tractor, it did good. And it was moving them in the snow with, and there's no diff lock on that old Alice Chalmers, wasn't an option. So no diff lock, just wheel weights, no chains even. Tractor didn't come with chains, unfortunately. So we had to be, and there's a slight slope in the parking lot at the storage unit, so we had to be careful. Got stuck a couple times, but it got itself unstuck right away. Just throw some boards down, or the trailer ramps down on the ground, and it did really well. And it was, when we were moving some of this stuff, it was 0 degrees outside, and I was chilly up on the tractor. But it's done good. It's done good. It'll be nicer when the clutch doesn't slip, and it'll be nicer when we have chains. This is the air compressor we had to wire in. This is the one from the business. Feels a little slow. It'll hopefully do what we need it to do, but it's pretty much our only option at this point. It was a 3-phase compressor, so we had to take a motor off of our secondary air compressor, which is exhausted and worn out, and this motor spins it just fine. And then I had to replace the kill switch. So now instead of turning off the breaker, we have an actual switch we can get to. Fills it up to 130 PSI. Air lines are ran across over to that corner, and we will have air outside at that corner in case we have like a flat tire in the parking lot or anything like that we need to take care of, fill up our air shocks. Or you never know, blow something off that's really dirty before we bring it into the shop. Drop downs for air hoses. That's power for the hoist. We need air for this hoist as well. We have the center rollers. Hopefully they'll work because they're off of a different hoist, but they are Hunter, just like this. And this hoist is really, really difficult to set up. We've been talking to the Hunter rep. It's very proprietary information to set up. The Hunter rep said they would charge $4,000 to set this hoist up. And it would take a team of 3 guys, 10 hours to do it, and 10 guys who know what they're doing. And that includes, unpacking it and all that stuff. Now, we have to refurbish the whole thing. So that takes some more time. But we have all the measurements we need now. Our Hunter rep has been really helpful. And a lot of these hoists, when they rip them out, they're not going to be used in anything because it's a used hoist. Who's going to buy a used hoist? It's not a huge market, so the Hunter guys will just get a torch and they'll just cut everything. So they cut the ramps, so we have to fix those, and they cut the cables that were originally on this. So our Hunter guy just took off a set of used cables that he was able to hook us up with. These cables new are $1,000. So we're extremely lucky to have such an awesome Hunter rep in the area. He's phenomenal. And I haven't talked to him personally, so I couldn't say his name and give him a shout out, but he is phenomenal. Brand new, this specific hoist, our Hunter rep said it was about a $40,000 machine. And he says they'll just scrap them out when they're done. They're 20 years old. $600, he said, is what they generally get scrapped for. It's like, that is some serious depreciation that it goes from being that expensive to being scrap steel. It's just unbelievable. But there's a lot of measurements that are super proprietary. It's a 14,000 pound alignment rack. But like when you set these, when you level these, they have to be a quarter inch, I think Mitch said, a quarter inch wider at the top of the towers, because when you pick it up, the towers will flex in a little bit. So you need them to flex, and then once there's weight on it, they'll be perfectly straight up and down. So it's a little biased out. He also said that these holes have to be 7/8, these bolts, and the rest are 3/4. And then these bolts are leveling bolts. So we need to, drill those, tap those. Tire machine, balancer. Currently it's all budget setup, but that's what we can afford. And honestly, we have the tools. We're gonna start making money here, hopefully in March. And then this is just the office area, setting up some decorations and stuff like that. And the bathroom is right over there. This was testing out the vinyl cutter that we bought to make our signage. But the bathroom's over there. Cabinets, we got a ton of parts. Got a bunch of stuff. This hoist was not necessarily the best buy, but it is a super nice hoist. Once we get it set up, we're gonna have no issues. This thing, it's gonna be great. And it can align pretty much anything that we would need it to, as long as we have the space for it. So that'll be nice. We were able to move it over a little bit too and get it lined up pretty much with the garage door. So we shouldn't have to come in at an angle and sort of drive it up. And then that still gives us plenty of room for the 10,000 pound or the 11,000 pound whip hoist that we'll be using. You have to get natural gas hooked up. Right now, it's kind of funny. We're on Main Street in my town, which is fairly big. Everybody else uses natural gas, but this is it's a heating oil furnace. This big 500-gallon tank under the building for heating oil, and that was pretty much empty when we moved in. So that was a big bill to put 400 gallons of oil in at $2.80. And since it's a commercial address, the way our laws work is you have to pay sales tax on that. If it was a residential address, you wouldn't have to pay the sales tax. So it was 5% tax on $2.80 a gallon for 400 gallons. A little pricey. And we have a door going in the back. We have a security door going in the back. I thought that was getting installed today, but I guess not. But yeah, we need to get some work done. So I'm gonna go start drilling these holes out, and I guess I'll let you guys see how far I get. This is my big project this weekend: is paint the towers, paint the tops, get the holes drilled. Plus all the other work I have to get done this weekend. Plus I gotta go down to the farm and see my grandmother. So lots to do this weekend.